Partial fractions video 8, and we're going to look at an example of integrating a case 3, and this one's an interesting one. So we've got the integral of 4 over x plus 1 times x squared plus 1. We have an irreducible quadratic, that's the x squared plus 1, and from a previous video we know the appropriate form would follow along these lines here. And I'm also splitting them up into sums of separate integrals. So two integrands there. From our previous videos we know that we'll have that equation there with 4 on the left hand side, and if we let x equal -1 in the first instance, we can see that we will get a equal to 2. We let x equal 0, we will have 4 equals a plus c. We know what a is, so c equals 2. If we let x equal 1 now, we've got 4 equals 2a plus 2 outside of b plus c. We know a and c, so that's 4 plus 2 outside of b plus 2, so 4 equals 8 plus 2b, 2b equals -4, so b equals -2. Okay, so subbing in a, b and c, we get that, and we'll keep progressing now. So we can go ahead and integrate, getting things set up in forms that we strongly suspect are going to be relevant, or types of integration that are going to be relevant, or ways of finding the antiderivative, and taking a factor of 2 outside of each of those is what I think is the way to do things here. And dx. Alright, so I just took a with that second term I took a factor of -2 out, in fact. Okay, slight variations are possible on this. Next line. Now here I'm going to split the numerator up into each of its terms. So it's just using the term x here first. Okay, so splitting the numerator up, we can say it's 2 outside of the integral of x over just basic fraction operations, x over x squared plus 1, and also we can put the 1, it's a -1 actually, over x squared plus 1. Now I'm being careful, you could write a -1 there because it is -1. If I write a +1, I can put a negative on the front. Now this whole thing has been subtracted off, so it's minusing a negative, so it's actually a plus. So be careful with things like that. You may even need to throw in some extra lines of working to avoid any stuff ups. So here we go. I'll explain these things, but I'm going to as I go. But as you know, the first one's pretty straightforward by now if you've been watching these videos. Okay, now the next one, what I will do is actually reinstate that 2 back up there. That way it's 2x, it's minus the integral of 2x over x squared plus 1, and that's your form of the integral of f dash of x over f of x dx equals natural log f of x plus c. Alright, it's an earlier antiderivative we've done. Okay, so we would have log f of x in this case is x squared plus 1. So minus natural log x squared plus 1. Now what about this fellow at the end here? We have the case where we have the integral of a being some constant over x squared plus a, and we know from our previous work that that equals inverse tan x over a plus c. Okay, so inverse tan x over a plus c, where a equals 1 in this case, so we will have a 1 there, so it'll just be inverse tan of x. Okay, so plus, now hold on, I've just missed a 2 here too. Now that's a 1 there, but remember, go back a few lines, I've just forgotten to write something down here, so I'm going to pause before it turns into a mistake. Okay, that 2 there, and we split these two terms up here. There should be a 2 here, so let me put that in. There we go, and we do not want the 2 up on the top because we want it to fit this form here where a equals 1. Okay, so I want the 2 out the front of the integral sign. So make sure you've amended your notes if you didn't spot that writing I didn't do earlier on, but it's all fixed now. So we have plus 2 arctan inverse tan of x over a, and a is 1, so it's just x, plus the constant. We can tidy this up. A few little bonus points for tidying things up slightly using log laws, I should say. The first term there can be written as that, and then we'll have log a take log b, which is log law 2. The rest is okay. And that means that we can say it's slightly simpler. And look, I'm going to drop the, I could drop the absolute value sign off this one, but I'll keep it in there. Just be careful where you put your squareds on this. Okay, subtle but very important difference. The inverse tan term in there. That was cool.